Ah, yes, this classic moment that dates all the way back to 1997 where Tekken players witnessed it for the very first time. For me, I witnessed it when I was 20 years old in an old arcade cabinet in a hotel that still had Tekken 3 for some reason. The birth of Devil Jin, the birth of an S tier.
But actually, Devil Jin wasn't even playable in Tekken 3. He only became a playable character for the first time in Tekken 5 DR.
Yes, I know you Tekken nerds. Shut up, I know what I'm talking about. And since then, Devil Jin has been a staple character in the Tekken roster, appearing in consecutive Tekken games without fail, all the way until Tekken 8 as we know him today. But in this video we're not going to be talking about the creation of an S tier character that dominated the pro scene for quite a while, before eventually receiving all the nerfs in the world in Tekken 7. In this video, we're going to be tackling the creation or the very birth of Devil Jin as an entity, as a character within the Tekken lore. Now, everyone knows that when Old Man Heihachi shot Jin in the head without remorse, by the way, in Tekken 3, Jin dies. Jin dies, and from the shadow, Devil Jin arises to literally yeet Heihachi out of the temple building, slams him into the ground, and flies off into the moonlight. This is pretty straightforward, we might all think. But one question that we kind of forget to ask, or rather miss, is where is Jin in all of this? Clearly Jin kinda died for a few moments. Did he have any choice in choosing whether to awaken his Devil Jin? Was he conscious throughout this all? In the Tekken 3 short cinematic cutscene that we get at the end of Jin's ending, we don't really know for sure as they show us a third-party perspective, kind of a third-person POV of what's happening. But I do believe the answer to this can be found, strangely enough, within the 2022 Netflix original series, or original anime if you want to put it that way, Tekken Bloodline. Now, Tekken Bloodline, some of you may have heard of it, some of you may be new to it even, is one of the few visual media that Tekken has in terms of visual representation as a game adaptation into animes, into TV series, 3D rendered movies, or even live action adaptations, although we're really not going to be talking about that last one. I consider it a horrendous war crime. But anyways, Tekken Bloodline released in 2022 in anticipation of the Tekken 8 latest installment, which happened on early 2024. It basically retells the story of Tekken 3. It's heavily based on it, and while it's considered non-canon, I consider a lot of the reference events to be pretty accurate. It is definitely not a one-to-one comparison. But then again, when you look at Tekken games themselves, especially back in the day, it was super difficult to tell what was canon and what wasn't. But we are going to be referencing this anime in our discussion of what happened during the birth of Devil Jin, and more accurately his transformation. And definitely by no stretch is Tekken Bloodline a perfect series or a perfect anime, but I will argue that it might be the best out of the Tekken visual representations that we have. I mean, it's not that hard considering that all we have to really compare it to is Tekken Blood Vengeance and Tekken the Motion Picture. But regardless, in terms of story, Tekken Bloodline actually offers us a lot more context to what actually happens in Tekken 3, and I kinda like it, to be honest. Its janky visuals and weird shading aside, I actually really enjoyed the show. I might make a full review on it if you guys request. But anyways, I can see why Bandai Namco would want to release Tekken Bloodline right before Tekken 8, because Tekken 3's story plays a huge significance in Tekken 8's continuation of the Mishima Saga, I guess, where in Tekken 8, Jin basically reconciles with Devil Jin. It is a huge plot point, and it dates back all the way to 1997 where Tekken 3 was released, and we're going to be focusing on one very specific moment in Tekken 3 where Heihachi kills Jin for the very first time. I say very first time, but then again, it's the only time, yeah, but we're gonna focus on this moment, so just take a look.
Indeed. I am Mishima, and you are an abomination. Kazama. ごめん、母さん。
And there you have it, the very same scene played out in the Tekken 3 cinematic at the end of Jin's story. Heihachi shoots him in the head, and he revives as Devil Jin. Although there are a very few key differences between Tekken Bloodline and the Tekken 3 original cinematic. One is that, his friends are kinda there. In the original, it was Heihachi and the Tekken Force that gunned him down. Here it's just Heihachi, but I like that they kept that he used the pistol to give him the final shot. In the original, he shot him in the head, I think, but in Bloodline, he shot him twice in the chest. But immediately after that, we can see Jin kind of meeting Jun once again, his mother, in this sort of Avengers Infinity War Thanos Gamora space look. It looks like Infinite Azure. It reminds me of Infinite Azure from Tekken 7. But it is definitely to show that he evidently dies. This is somewhat the path to the afterlife, or the path to death. You can see Jun standing on one end and Jin standing on the other. This is like the gateway between life and death, to me at least. This is how I interpret it. And you can see Jun is literally smiling at Jin. Like Jin maybe is able to see his mom again, although he's dying. He's essentially dying. And you can see Jin here kind of is offered a choice. He can either choose to embrace the devil and revive as Devil Jin, or he could perhaps rest in peace for once. And if you think about it, it's kind of a poetic end to the story if he were to choose that option. Jin, having defeated Ogre and avenged his mother, although shot by Heihachi, at least could be finally put to rest. And this scene alone, the significance of this scene is just crazy. I can't fathom how much it opens up so many questions that we've never asked before in Tekken lore. Did Jin consciously choose the decision to awaken Devil Jin? As we see here, I think he does. He literally takes a picture of his mom, crumples it in his hand, apologizes, and in my opinion, the sequence where he, puts down his fist and you can see the glowing red eyes and the devil markings start to appear in the wings, that just goes really hard. I highly recommend to watch Tekken Bloodline just for that scene alone. And it's very evident that he makes a conscious choice. And it really makes me wonder, would Jun have wanted this? Jun, Jun Kazama, the woman of purity that appeared in Tekken 2, who was all about the Kazama way of kindness and pacifism. Would she have wanted Jin to resurrect as Devil Jin? I mean, I'm sure no mother would want their son dying, but if the consequence or alternative is the creation of Devil Jin, what would her stance be? What would she say? And we never get to know, even in Tekken 8. God damn it, Bandai Namco, why is there so little Jin explanations in Tekken 8? I really hope there would have been a plot point, but yeah, that is pretty significant. But that all said, I can definitely see why some Tekken veterans and Tekken purists would disagree with me saying that Tekken Bloodline isn't canon at all, and definitely while that is a valid point, once again I do remind everyone that even back in the day, all the endings of the specific character endings were not canon. We literally had to fish out which one was canon, which one the fan base thought was canon, and later on only were they confirmed by Bandai Namco and people like Karada. So I would say all's up for grabs now for Tekken 8. Like, Tekken 8 has a lot of open interpretations, and generally I would say the same applies to Bloodline 2. And if you ask me, I think definitely I would say yes, Jin does consciously choose to awaken Devil Jin. It does make perfect sense when you consider how much story Tekken 8 brings in, and it only serves to increase the depth of Jin, the main man of Tekken, if you want to even call it that. Shout out to Main Man Sui. But yeah, I definitely think it is a conscious decision, and in fact gives even more tragedy to the character that is Jin and Devil Jin. And feel free to let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely, I think this is a great plot point for discussion. I might even make a part 2 discussing anything that you guys might choose to add on, and definitely give Tekken Bloodline a watch and let me know what you guys think. If you want a full review of Tekken Bloodline, or even some of the other series such as the Tekken motion picture, Tekken Blood Vengeance, but no Tekken the live action. I'm not reviewing Tekken the live action. That thing is so bad, it deserves to die in the dumpster fire. Anyways, like if you enjoyed, comment whatever you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.